Why, hello there. Welcome to day 691 since Elden Ring was first announced at E3 2019. And this is the Elden Wait live. How y'all doing tonight? Whew, I was sort of rushing to get to this stream. I still have kids up, so I hope they don't crash my stream, but just so you're aware. How's everyone doing? Hello, Ray. Hello. Hi, please hydrate. Laundry Basket Gamers, Jag Chan, Chaotic Z, Alan G, Divine, Banana. How are y'all doing tonight? I am doing pretty good. It's been a bit of a hectic night. I don't usually do a Friday night stream, and Fridays tend to be a little bit more chaotic. Everyone's excited. End of the week. As I mentioned, my 7-year-old just got Pokemon Snap, so I couldn't say like go to bed at your normal time, you know. So I had to let him. I have my kids upstairs enjoying Pokemon Snap with my wife, and hopefully they remain upstairs, or else I'll have to maybe improvise and stuff. But yeah, so what I'm going to do tonight is we hang out, chat the normal, whatever chat is talking about. But also, I took a look at the Kadokawa end of year financial report, and I might as well explain stuff and what I learned. I am by no means someone who really understands, like, professionally any of this, like, financial stuff. And but I spent too much time this morning taking a look through that. I actually read the whole thing, so I figured I may as well share with you guys sort of what I noticed and what we sort of gleaned from it. Which, spoiler alert, nothing there is like definitely saying like Elden Ring coming out in this next year. There's things that I think are hinting toward it, and I think it is something where if you're hopeful, I think it should help bolster that hope. And I am hopeful, and I would love to spread the good vibes. So let's get right into that. Before I do, let me make sure that I have the right page up to get started. Let's see there. Okay. Yeah, so let's check this out. So this is it. This is whatever it is, like 30 pages. Yeah, sharing the pain. Hello. If you could explain Bandai's quarterly reports too. So, Bandai Namco will be releasing their end of year or their quarterly report on May 11th coming up. I believe that's a Tuesday, so I will cover that as it comes out, but hopefully that'll give us a little bit more information. I haven't looked at the other ones, but I know there's one coming up on May 11th. But I'll start with Kadokawa, and I wanted to start up on this, which is pretty, there's nothing huge to pick out here, but what I wanted to bring up on this particular page is just that, I just thought it was interesting to take a look at, if you're looking at the different categories, just to get a better understanding of Kadokawa in general, is that the publication side of Kadokawa is what's making them the big money there. Like, they're doing very well in the publication category, as they mentioned in the report, and that is their most important thing. So if you see there not being much about games, that's because Kadokawa, that's their big deal, is publishing. On the publishing side for like manga and shows and everything. And I think that makes a ton of sense in that perspective, why we saw Sony jump in with Kadokawa. It's 100% their publishing endeavors, and a little bit games, but their media for their their shows and their manga and stuff like that is definitely where they're making their money. So yeah, Kadokawa is huge over there for producing stuff, and so that's huge for them. And it totally makes sense that from this, like you can see games do have a good profit margin for them, and they have done well for them the last year. But with that, let's move on to the next page I want to go to, which is actually page, let's see, 6. All right. So here on page 6 of the report, there's one particular thing I wanted to highlight. And if you saw the Reddit post that the person put up on Reddit earlier, which I'm taking with a grain of salt, I don't think that it's fabricated per se, but I'm just not super. I'm looking at this official report, and that's where I'm focusing. But there was the thing they mentioned about there being starting to turn some sort of profits does line up a little bit with this thing where they do talk about reflecting the brisk performance personnel cost increase. So they're saying in the games division that they have they're seeing increased workload and they're hiring more people in the games division. I don't exactly know what that means. So to break it down to Kadokawa has Kadokawa Games, they have Spike Chunsoft, and they have From Software. And so think of that when we're looking at the game segment. That is covering all of those entities, and that's what's being reflected here. And when they say here, the development of several pipelines, including new works for the next term, is steadily underway. In this case, it seems like term to indicate like the next quarter. And I looked at Spike Chunsoft and I looked at Kadokawa Games, and they don't have anything coming up. So take this with a grain of salt, but this development of several pipelines, including new works for the next term, is steadily underway. Does give me some hope that that means in the next quarter, they are hoping for Elden Ring like pre-orders to be a factor in their profits for this next year. Hello, Vicente Gutierrez. Have we gone so incredibly far to analyze a company's numbers? Man, that is a wonderful question. What as much as I actually like looking at some of the background of games like this, and I like getting to know what From Software, like where they fit into Kadokawa, and helps get a better idea of like how they factor into things. I can't wait to just be like talking about game shit, like lore, mechanics, that sort of stuff. But until then, this is where we're at. And it's been fun, but it's definitely something where I hope I'm doing a service for the community by digging into this, because no one else should have to. But so that's what I'm hoping this new works is. Most likely Elden Ring here, and as we'll see, Elden Ring is the only game thing in general they really bring up for games as far as priority. So let's see, the next page I wanted to take a look at is page 11, page 10. So I did want to point out that over the next year, this is their forecast for the fiscal year, this current one they're moving into, ending, March 31st, is that they actually show themselves as being down on net sales, and especially down on operating profit. Operating profit because, they've hired more people, production has ramped up, and then net sales have gone down. And they say that the reasoning for this is because of COVID and games delays, which makes sense. And I just wanted to look at anyone seeing the fact that they're calling for anywhere from 11% to 15% decrease in net sales over the next year, who gets worried that means they're not expecting anything big to happen, is most likely, and I don't know the ins and outs of the games industry, but for instance, when you have like books within like the publishers and everything, that the publisher sort of takes off the top. And therefore, the profits, for instance, for the author tend to come in, unless they have an advance, the profits tend to come a little bit later. And so I just wanted to point that out there, that this could just mean that they're, even if they expect Elden Ring to sort of bolster this, that they wouldn't see big numbers right out the gate potentially, because Bandai Namco is going to get first cut, and they get a large cut regardless because they own the IP for Elden Ring. So I just wanted to point that out in case anyone's happened to take a look and that really worried them. I don't think that's something to worry about potentially. So now I wanted to get to the page everyone has probably seen already, and that is priority for Kadokawa number 5, and this is the page you've probably seen where they mention Elden Ring. And I want to say this is priority measure 5 out of 6. The first 4 are all related to their publishing stuff, and that makes sense. And that's why I wanted to point out at the start that the publishing is the big thing for Kadokawa. So the fact that Elden Ring is on here at all is good news, because it makes them a lot more money talking about publishing and manga and anime than it is for video games, as we saw, because it's like 4 times more money is in that for them. But here, you've probably seen it, is this is investor talk, so they're just letting them know, building on the success of Dark Souls, 27 million copies out of that series. They're pushing George R. R. Martin. I think what this page does is it does give us a chance to see, like, this is how Kadokawa is viewing it. This is likely how Bandai Namco is viewing it. And I think it helps confirm something that I think we've all assumed, is that when it comes time for marketing, this boy right here, George R. R. Martin, he's going to be huge. Dark Souls, Miyazaki's going to be huge. We saw that with the announcement trailer. Dark Fantasy, Elden Ring, heralded as From Software's biggest title yet in terms of sheer volume. This is little hints towards what the marketing is going to look like. And I think we already saw that with the announcement trailer, and I think it's going to continue to be that. So I think that's what we can sort of take here. Laundry Basket Gamers, are Kadokawa and Bandai Namco related in any way? The only way they're related is that Kadokawa owns From Software. Kadokawa is the parent company for From Software, and the Bandai Namco is publishing Elden Ring, and they own the IP for Elden Ring. So that is how they're related, is essentially through From Software. Yeah. And yeah, please throw out any questions. Like, I've spent far too much time looking at this stuff, so this is my headspace, but these are a lot of terms that I had to get myself acclimated to. So no worries. And then I wanted to show off this last page of information, which I think is fun. So we, forget about Elden Tech. What Kadokawa is interested in is Ed Tech, or educational technology. That is their last goal, is they want to become a leading Ed Tech company, which I thought was funny reading that. So that is just a bit of a joke there, but there you have it. That is the financial report. If you watched Mord's thing, you can watch Mordecai's daily update to get like the quick overview. This is like the for nerds who don't want to read the report version, which is definitely the best version. I spent like 40 minutes reading this report. I will never get that time back, but you can have the 40 minutes here chatting and having fun. So there you have it. There is the Kadokawa end of year financial report, highlights for someone interested in Elden Ring and From Software. And May 11th, there will be the Bandai Namco quarterly report, which could result in something interesting. So I will be providing information for that as well, if you were looking forward to that. I think if that comes out a Tuesday, then likely I will talk about that maybe on a live stream after that on a Wednesday. So look forward to that. But let's see. Now we have a few other questions. So let's see. Hello, Hawkshot. Do you think Xbox still has the marketing rights to Elden Ring? I don't know that Xbox ever had like an official thing for Elden Ring, but and I see Discapism is asking Elden Ring be an Xbox exclusive. So I I'm just going to give my own thoughts, which aren't based on any more information than anyone else has seen, despite the fact that I just think about this a lot and pay really close attention to it. I think it is very possible at this point that, you know, we see Elden Ring at more Microsoft stuff. I don't think that means that they have a lock on it, but I think it is totally possible that Xbox is being so aggressive right now that I'm not totally discounting the idea of Microsoft going as far as like a Game Pass thing for Elden Ring, which would be massive and pretty crazy, I think. But I just think Xbox has been very aggressive lately, and I'm not discounting it at the moment. I don't think they have exclusive rights to anything. I don't think Elden Ring is going to change. I think it's going to be multi-platform regardless. But I do wonder with the so Bandai Namco, for Tales, for Digimon Survive, they all got like these little tweets that said like look forward to this information. Elden Ring was their only like big title that didn't get a tweet like sort of saying, here we go, this is coming out then, here's the information. And I could be totally wrong on this because we could see Elden Ring in May for all I know. But it is one of those things where I do wonder if Elden Ring isn't getting the same coverage because it's tied up with a third party like Microsoft who wants to have dibs on it for an event. And maybe that event isn't totally nailed down yet, or, they need to wait for Microsoft to announce. So I think that's all possible. So I think that's as far as I take it, and I don't know. I think there is still. Keeping it very open right now. I think for all I know, Bandai Namco could do like a shadow drop, what they did with Tales, where they drop a trailer, they have these publications with these interviews come out, then they release a gameplay thing. Like they could do something like that. I don't think that's totally out of the picture. I think anything is possible, but I also think it is very possible that Microsoft has asked to have dibs on it, and that's why we haven't heard as much. So, yeah, Laundry Basket Gamer says Elden Ring won't be shadow dropped. I tend to think it won't be either, but I'm not ruling it out just because I just don't know. And everything is so unprecedented with all of this that I don't like. Tales is also a very large thing for Bandai Namco, and you would think they would save that too, but they didn't. And they're really trying to make a big push with this game, I guess, in the West. So you think that they would want to hit something like that, but they chose not to. So, but Elden Ring is even bigger than that. So, it's very possible. And it is Western focused. So I do tend to agree that I think it's more likely that we'll see something like at E3. Let's see. Yeah, MV says Team April dead. Team April is dead. And I sort of gave up on it around mid-April. NV says, in your perfect world, when do you see the trailer coming? Here's where I'm at with everything. And I am very hopeful that in the next six-ish weeks, meaning by the time we're through E3, that we have Elden Ring information. That would be in line with things I heard at the beginning of the year. Just meaning that, when Omnipotent had said, From's got your backs or whatever, that there were he was loosely aware of certain things. And speaking to him somewhat recently, he's still confident that those are true. And it seems to me that E3 is really the point at which I think that has changed. And that's the point at which I think the Elden Wait becomes me literally trying to talk about anything but Elden Ring because I don't know what's going on, but I'm very, very hopeful and confident that we will see something coming up. Famous last words. Of course, with Elden Ring, I am pretty cynical, and it is hard to be very confident, but I do feel pretty good about this, and I'm not receiving any, big smoke about it, but I do feel pretty good about what's coming up. Vicente Gutierrez says Game Awards still hurt. They do hurt, and that is why I refuse to be super confident. Just because I really thought, we would get some stuff, but let's see. Let's see. Ray G asked, have I played Outward? I have not played Outward. I would like to because it's made by a small team and it seems like an interesting look at a different type of open world experience than we're generally used to. And I have a few questions here. Discapism says, is COVID still halting Elden Ring development in Japan? Actually, they just announced another state of emergency or lockdown in Tokyo, I believe. So it's still a problem. And they were hit pretty hard in general. Just so from what I understand, Tokyo and that area tried to incentivize people to get out because the economy was hurting, and that just led to a spike in COVID cases, and they've had to roll that back. So they're having a hard time with that, and I don't think vaccines are rolling out very effectively over in Japan, unfortunately. So it could still continue to be a problem, honestly. But hopefully they've adapted somewhat, or they've figured out a way to continue moving forward. And as we saw with the Kadokawa financial report, that's even if it's priority 5 out of 6, it's one of their top 6 priorities as a company. Ray G, it's a question more of it's not that they're not getting vaccinated, it's just availability and stuff. Like the U.S., from what I understand, has been kind of hoggy. That's not the right word, but I've gotten vaccinated. But it seems like, the United States is in a position where they tend to be getting a lot of vaccines right now. But over in Japan, I'm not sure that they're getting as many and that they're rolling them out as effectively for whatever reason. But as far as how that affects Elden Ring, it could still be. So let's see. Alan G says, at this point, only those that are familiar with From Software and the Souls games are the ones that know about Elden Ring and keep up with it. I think they're going to do big marketing after E3. Yeah, I agree. I want to throw that out there because who knows? But I don't think that it's going to be. I think they're going to want to give it their typical 6 to 9 months of marketing that they do, like an E3 to a spring, like a March 2022 situation, because even though we've been obsessing about this, not everyone has, and they're going to want to get that George R. R. Martin name into the mainstream and attach that to a video game, have people get excited and come in, because why wouldn't you? If you're the publisher and you're marketing this game, this is a big chance. George R. R. Martin, Game of Thrones is they could really push this game. I think they're going to want to do that for sure. So, Bud Bear says, just shut up, but are you saying they can't finish the game because they don't have the funds? No, as far as I know, that they're fine. But I am saying that realistically, at this point, with Kadokawa wants them to release Elden Ring, and I assume Bandai Namco, which is taking the lion's share of the financial risk as the publisher, it's not going to be unlimited. But obviously, Bandai Namco gave them a really good budget because none of their other games have been able to go 5 years in development. So I would actually say it's encouraging that they have been able to keep funding it, but I assume that means that at least right now Bandai Namco has a lot of money out there. So they're definitely going to want to milk the marketing. This isn't the time to risk not getting Elden Ring as far out into the public consciousness as they can. I think they'll really want to take this as a chance. They'll pull in gamers with the Dark Souls talk, and they'll pull in the mainstream with the George R. R. Martin and Game of Thrones talk, and really build that up and try to bring a lot of people in, or try to get people on board who wouldn't typically be on, who are on one side, and try to pull them in using both of those tactics, I would think. So, but Yeah, there you have it. There as I agree that I think the marketing is going to be robust. Let's see. MV says Bandai Namco report on May 11th, right? That is correct. I believe it's Tuesday, May 11th. Bandai Namco will be releasing a report, and I will be taking a look at that. NVE asks, any games you've been playing / recommend to bridge the gap between now and the release, not including FromSoft games. I've been playing Risk of Rain 2 lately, for example. You know, tons of games to recommend, honestly. Like I started Returnal up today. I only got to get a run in before the stream. Returnal, if you like roguelikes, I am really terrible at bullet hell, but I am pushing through it anyways because I really am in the mood for some sci-fi, and I do like roguelikes. And that game's a ball of fun. It is hard. It's not easy. I haven't had much time with it, but I'm enjoying it so far. If you have a PS5, it seems like a really good thing to invest some money in. It feels good. But, otherwise, if you have a PC or you happen to have like a PS2, Kingsfield games, going backwards, old school From Software, I'm playing through Kingsfield 4 on my PC right now, so I would recommend that. It's really actually a really good game once you get used to the fact that it's just really old. It's really fun. I'm having a lot more fun with it than I thought I would, and it's really cool to look at the history and see how long From Software has been doing the awesome things that they do, and how that goes back before Miyazaki even, just that From Software approach to design. So, tons of stuff. Obviously, there's the From Software, but that's the one thing is like from a content perspective as a From Software fan, I want to see Elden Ring so bad, but from like just a gamer perspective, I have such a big backlog. Like, I have Disco Elysium waiting for me. I haven't even gotten to start that yet. I'm still playing through Divinity Original Sin 2. That's a massive game. I'm chipping away at that on my Switch. So I have no shortage of games. And if you're into Souls-like stuff or Metroidvanias in particular, I always recommend Blasphemous. That game, the gameplay is not, the platforming is a little mediocre. The combat is fun in Blasphemous, and the art style is incredible. It's one of my favorite games visually ever. Death's Gambit will soon have a free update that massively overhauls the game to turn it from like a 2D Souls-like, into more of a 2D Souls-like Metroidvania. So keep an eye on that if you haven't played Death's Gambit, or if you have, because that game is actually getting a huge update, and they're beta testing this weekend. So in the next few months, I think they might be releasing the update for that, and that's been in the work for almost 2 years. It's a massive expansion, so, and sort of overhaul of the game. Laundry Basket Gamer says Dishonored is pretty good if you haven't played it already. Dishonored is amazing. The whole series is up there with some of my favorite games of all time. I think Dishonored 2 has some incredibly creative levels that, like, spatially are just amazing. And if you love environmental storytelling, Dishonored is wonderful for environmental storytelling. And they have a pack I've seen going around as like a deal right now. They have Dishonored, Dishonored 2, The Mark of the Outsider, or Death of the Outsider, and then they have Prey, which is also another amazing. Arcane's a great studio. I love Arcane. They're really amazing. And you can get that whole collection for like $20 or something crazy like that. So it's really good stuff. And people talk about waiting for Elden Ring. Well, fuck that. I've been waiting for a new Killzone for 7 years. There's people who are suffering more. Like if you're looking at the Bayonetta 3 crowd, Metroid Prime 4, Silk Song has more info, but there's people who've been waiting a long time for games, so we're certainly not alone. But From Software fans, we had like 3 years in a row. Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3 came out like year after year, so we're adjusting to this new reality. But Yeah, Arcane is making Deathloop, and I am looking forward to that as well. Although it does look a little different from like what I come to like Prey and Dishonored for, but it does look interesting. So I'll probably try that out as well. But yeah, so there you have it. But yeah, so I think that about wraps it up today. I'm glad I could go over the report and everything. I will be returning on Monday with another Elden Wait, and then I'll see the schedule. I was supposed to have an interview episode out today, but had to be shuffled to next week. So hopefully that'll be coming out next week. A really fun guest that I think y'all will enjoy, and then not this next week, but the week after will be my next episode of The Hunt. If you haven't checked out episode 1 of The Hunt, that is up on my channel. It is about Bloodborne and the Chords of the Eye, and a lore post I wrote back in 2015. I sort of reevaluate that with 2021 eyes. That is all thanks to support from Patreon. If you're not aware, I do have a Patreon. It gives a lot of fun stuff for people who sign up, so you can check that out in the description if you're interested. But otherwise, I've had a great time hanging out. Thanks for hanging out, and I appreciate y'all tuning in. It's been great, and we will see what happens with Elden Ring. I am hopeful that we are getting there, but I've been in this position before, so. But everyone, have a great weekend, and I will see y'all later. Thank you so much for tuning in.